But what happens if we have nonlinear inequalities? Because yes, nonlinear inequalities are part of math. Like in this situation, x squared is greater than 25. How do we solve nonlinear inequalities? Well, the situation, the process is very similar than what we do with equations. Just a few extra steps. But let's start with what we know. This x is squared. In order to isolate it, we need to take that squared and move it to the other side of the inequality. And the way we do it is using the inverse operation, which is a radical, a square root. So the radical and the exponents cancel each other. But we do it on one side of the inequality, we have to do it on the other side. This rule also applies for inequalities. So we must take the square root of 25. And if we take the square root of 25, we have to pay attention one more time that the index of the radical is an even number. 2 is an even number. So we must consider both the positive and the negative solution. This means we have to consider the x is greater than 5 and the x is greater than negative 5, both the positive and the negative solution. But the problem is not just over there. Of course, inequalities have a small trick. Inequalities are always one more step besides equation that we have to take into consideration. And it is for the negative solution. So always for the negative solution, we must switch the inequality sign. So x being greater than negative 5 is the negative solution. And what we have to do is we take that inequality sign, which says x greater than negative 5, and we must flip it to the other side. So now x is smaller than negative 5. For the positive solution, we don't do any changes. For the negative solution, we must change the inequality sign. And yes, this could be the final answer, but remember, we have to state like what are some possible answers. And for this, we use the number line. And let's take a look. Let's start with one of the solutions. Let's start with the right solution. The x is smaller than negative 5. And let's write our number line with negative 5 in the number line. And what we do is we first look at the sign. It says that x is smaller than negative 5 because x is on the closed side of the inequality. So x is to the left of negative 5. So any number to the left of negative 5, any number smaller than negative 5, is considered a possible solution, like negative 7, negative 32, negative 432, even negative 5.001. And what about negative 5 itself? We do not have the little line on the bottom stating that we can have equal to negative 5, which means negative 5 is not a possible solution. So we do not include it. Now we move on to the other side, x being greater than 5. Well, let's first put the 5 in the number line. We didn't have it before. And because the x is on the open side of the sign, x is going to be greater than 5. So x is going to be to the right of that 5. And what are some of our possible numbers? Any number greater than 5 is a possible solution. 12, 48, 432, 5.001. One more time, what about 5 itself? 5 itself is not a possible solution because we do not have x greater or equal than 5. We just have x greater than 5. So we do not include it. So these two are possible sets of solutions. X being greater than 5, any number greater than 5, and x being smaller than negative 5, any number smaller than negative 5.